Wanted to show you another example with GoalSeek. In this case, it would be a what-if analysis to find what you would need to make on a final exam, for example, in order to have a certain grade in the class, which is something that students frequently will ask. What do I need to make on the final exam if I wanted a C in the class, for example? So what I have here is a file with students, with their tests, the final average or the final exam in column F, the average in the class in column G, and the grade. So the average is calculated using the average function. The grade is calculated using a VLOOKUP to this table. So in this case, let's look at these two examples. If Stevie Nicks wanted to have at least a 70 or a C in the class, what would she have needed to make on the final exam? Okay, so GoalSeek is the tool that we will use to analyze this. It only allows you to change one value. So we want the average to be 70, but we can only change one value, one test value, in order to get this to 70. So we're going to change the final test. Okay, so it's not like we can say what would she have needed to make on all of her tests in order to make a 70 in the class. GoalSeek will not let you do that. So let's go to the data, GoalSeek, under the what if analysis. And we're going to say we're going to set a cell to a certain value. So that means what's our goal? We're going to set G5, which is our average, to a 70 because she wants a 70, at least a C in the class. So we're going to set that cell to 70. In order to get it to 70 for our final average, we have to change something else. So in order to reach our goal of 70, we're going to see what we needed to make on the final, or what Stevie needed to make on the final in order to make that 70. So we're going to change the final exam score to see what it would need to be to bring her average up to a 70. Okay, so we'll set her average to a value of 70 by changing her final exam score. Okay, so we'll click on OK. It walks through the algorithm and finds the closest value. It does find a solution and says that she would need to have made a 77 on her final exam in order to have a 70 in the class. So you can either say OK to accept that value, or you can cancel. So I'll cancel for the moment. But let's go down here and look at Aretha's. She has a B in the class, and maybe she wanted an A in the class, a 90. So we'll do the same thing. We're going to use the GoalSeek. And for the GoalSeek, we're going to set her average, and she wanted a 90. So we're going to set it to a 90. And in order to get it to a 90, we're going to change her final exam. Okay. Now we could choose one of the other tests, but in this case, most of the time it's the final exam that will affect your average when you get to that point. So we will click on OK. It finds the closest value to get it to a 90. And she would have had to really do well on her final exam in order to bring her grade up to a 90. So she would have had to have lots of extra credit for that. So in this case, we will not accept that. We'll cancel that. And we could go back and check and see what she would have needed to make on some of the other tests individually, but it would be very difficult to get that average back up to an A at this point where she needs so many points. So therefore you can see sort of what you can do with the GoalSeek. Again, you can only change one value at a time to get the average up to that point, but it's a really cool tool to use for the what if analysis.